What's going on, everybody? Astrocatical here. Welcome to the Astrocastrophe. Tonight, it was announced that Jake-Paul will be fighting Mike Tyson. This is big news in the world of boxing, which isn't really ahead of the curve anymore. Seems that UFC and mixed martial arts have taken the spotlight for most of that, which is a goddamn shame because the UFC is no longer very personable when it comes to viewer and fighter. I don't find it nearly as interesting as, two guys getting in the ring and just fist pounding each other. I just don't. That's me. But we want to discuss, I guess, most realistically, the odds of this fight and who's in favor of winning and who's in favor of losing. I think first and foremost that this is a cash grab. Seems that when it comes to the Paul brothers, all of their fights have been cash grabs. And it seems too also anytime you mix a boxer in the world of combat sports with another athlete who is not a boxer, such as Conor McGregor versus Mayweather. Sure, Conor McGregor is, fluent in karate, kickboxing, Muay Thai, and, all the sort of fighting styles that incorporates methods of boxing. He's not a boxer, not in the sort of sportsmanship sense where it's traditionally just boxing. No kicks involved, no throws, no getting on the mat and wrestling around, none of that. So, I mean, it's obviously geared in Mayweather's favor, but it just seems like anytime they attempt to do this, it's just to get people to watch it and to generate controversy, to garnish publicity, and to make money. And that's the other thing I wanted to point out is Tyson is my second favorite boxer. My favorite boxer is George Foreman, and my second is Mike Tyson. My third would probably be Muhammad Ali. But those are my top three boxers, and I genuinely love and respect Mike Tyson, but he is, without the shred of a doubt, past his prime. He's in his 50s. He can still fight, but a man that is, 30, 20 years younger than him, I don't know what the odds of that are, especially being that Tyson lost his last fight, which was with someone who was more or less in his age bracket, maybe a few years younger, maybe 7 years younger. I don't know if it was a complete 10 years younger, but Tyson lost that fight. And admittedly, he said that he did it for money. I don't believe that Mike Tyson's head is in the game anymore. I think he lost that sense of himself a long time ago. And I think he does try to remain relevant. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying that he's not a washed up personality at this point. Anything Tyson does, I support. Anytime he does a podcast or an interview, I watch it. But at this point, I think watching him fight is not nearly as impactful as it was growing up in the early 90s watching him fight, or if you were before my time, you were watching him fight in the 80s, and he was literally just wiping the floor with people, fucking murdering them. And he is one of the greatest fighters of all time. I literally think you could put Mike Tyson in a cage match with specific people, and without grappling or anything, I still think he would beat the living shit out of half of the people he fought, even if they were allowed to take him to the ground. And what I mean by no grappling is Mike is a boxer. He has no wrestling skills that I know of. I still think he would piss pound the living fuck out of motherfuckers. And half of them wouldn't last nearly as long with him as some of the people he's fought in his career have. There was a point in Tyson's career where he was knocking people out so fast, and these were pay-per-view events, that viewers were getting pissed off. You know, they'd spend money to watch these things, and, you know, they'd go grab a beer, and the moment they come back, the fight's already over because Tyson knocked them out. People were calling in and complaining about how good this guy was. But he's not that sort of fighter anymore. I think he's like 56 or 57. And Jake Paul released this cocky video right here. And I don't really like the Paul brothers. I never really have. I just, after watching this, you kind of do want to see Jake get the lights knocked out of him. But again, I don't think that I just don't think the cards are in Tyson's favor. Jake Paul has boxed some pretty big names, but the bottom line is they're all people who are, you know, at least 10 to 15 years older than him. And, you know, it's more or less that he's beaten up has-beens. Or I don't know, if I've never really watched any of his fights. I've watched some of Logan's fights. And, you know, even Tony Jeffries, you know, an Olympic boxer, says that there's some highlights to Logan's fighting style that's, you know, at least worth mentioning, that he does have at least some talent as a boxer. Now, when it comes to Jake, I have no idea. I've never watched any of his fights. Not really interested in it either. I mean, physically speaking, I find Logan more interesting because, you know, he's much taller than him. I think he too has the better personality, and that's something that plays into it a lot too with fighters, is their personality, because you have to work with the crowd. And I think a lot of the time, if the crowd is sitting there booing you and stuff, the chances of you winning the fight, and somewhat, unless you're a very strong-minded person, like you just can't pack that sort of energy into your fighting style if you expect to win. So I think that too, that Logan is someone who can work the audience a lot better than Jake can. And that's the thing, is Tyson would undoubtedly be able to work the audience better than Jake Paul would. People remember Tyson. People love Tyson. Now, I know like half of people who know who Jake Paul is don't like him. So I don't think he'll be winning anyone in the audience over. But I do just ultimately think at the end of the day, this is just for publicity. It's for money. I don't think it's super serious. I guess I'll probably be watching it, but I'm not going to be keeping, you know, very sort of keen eye on it. I won't be keeping tabs on it, but when it does happen, it happens July 20th. I guess I'll probably watch it and see what happens. And two, I'm just wondering, like, is this tattoo on his face even fucking real? I don't. But to know, after watching this video, you definitely would want to see Tyson knock him out. But well, we could only wish for something like that to happen, but I don't really think it is. This is being hosted on Netflix, which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. That to me also says this is Netflix trying to stay relevant, because they'll do anything at this point to stay relevant. Anything. But I mean, it's not going to be something like, even when you had like Jake fight Nate Diaz, or when you had Logan fight Mayweather. I mean, they're fighting big names. It's just like, it kind of seems like at the same time not too many people care to watch it. I mean, they do, but their levels of enthusiasm always turns into like quick criticism that's just like, just tearing at every little nook and cranny they possibly can. There's like just no way for anyone to even enjoy the fight. I think that's a fake tiger, CGI tiger. I mean, this whole video, this whole time I'm just watching, wondering, is that tattoo fucking real? I kind of hope it is. I kind of hope it is, because that's just idiotic to do that, to put that fucking tattoo on your face. You know, to try to psych out Mike Tyson. I mean, yeah, I get it. He's this brutal fucking monster that's just literally destroyed people, but you know, like he's in his 50s, you know, give the guy a break. You know, even if Jake Paul wins, it's like you're beating up an old man. I don't care how tough Tyson was in his prime. You're beating up an old man. But that's the thing. I think this is all for money. I still think that Tyson will put up a good fight for his age. But I think it's all for money. Just like all of the other fights that the Paul brothers get into, it's just for generating controversy. The only one that I have any respect for is the fight that his brother got into with Dylan Danis. That's the only one I really respect. And maybe the one with Nate Diaz, but again, these are fighters over the hill, and I can't ground too much appreciation for that. Anyways, this will be happening July 20th. Keep an eye out for it. It's probably a cash grab like anything else that comes out of this, with the Paul brothers and Netflix and all affiliating associates. But we'll keep a vigilant eye on this and hit up the old Netflix on July 20th. And with that, I'm signing out. I will see you next time.